Welcome back for Game 3 of the Pool 15 tournament. This time my Anglo-Saxons are up against the Vikings. My opponent's taken the Hero of the Dark Age, Hoard I believe, which allows him to take a unit of Hearthguard with Danaxes in his Viking army. So the mission we're playing is Battle for the Hoard. In this scenario, in the center of the table, there is a hoard of gold. Any unit can pick it up. If it does so, it will then have slow movement. I think it's reduced to small for movement. It can't generate any Saga dice. They only stop hits from shooting on 5s and in combat on 6s. So you suffer quite a lot for having it, and in the end, it's whoever has it wins. If it changes hands during the game, you'll actually get a few more victory points than if you just grab it and hide. This is my first turn. I just move up, as you see. So the opponent's right is set up with a unit of 8 warriors, a unit of 8 Hearthguard with Danaxes, obviously Harold in the background, a unit of 4 Berserkers, they're in behind, and on the left another unit of 8 warriors. So I move up en masse, as you see here. I've made a big faux pas here, as I normally do. I set a big 12-man unit to go and pick up the gold hoard. That was really unnecessary with all the downsides it gives it. They're actually a very effective fighting unit. So what I should have done is use my little 4-man unit that I just used to generate Saga and give extra wounds to the Warlord, and let them go and pop it up. Therefore I've got better units actually defending my golden hoard. So my opponent, see me going for gold, decides to charge in with his warriors into my levy unit. But thanks to, I think it's Defenders of the Realm, is the basic one I always use. It's the first one down. It's only a horse, which is the mid symbol, and gives you 2 extra defense dice or attack dice, and another 2 extra defense or attack dice if you're a unit of 10 or more. So really good for the cost. So at the end of the turn, it's looking something like this. My opponent's just moved up onto the hill with the units and pushed forward with everyone else. Here again I made a slight mistake. There's only 4 warriors left, so I thought I'd push forwards and take out the 4 warriors. That will put fatigue on all the units behind them, and then I'll be able to overrun and go into the Berserkers. With no abilities up, that was my best chance to get rid of the Berserkers. Still have to wear the 16 attacks, but then without the Viking abilities on the offensive, that should give me quite a bonus. But what happens is I do wipe them out, and yes, the fatigue goes on my opponents as I planned. But then I realised I was at 2 fatigue because it's taken me 2 moves to get there. So if I go in against the Berserkers, I'll gain another fatigue. So because my opponent didn't spend any of it, and therefore I would have been exhausted and only generated half my attacks. So well done for my opponent to not spend my fatigue, which is always tempting to do, and put me into that situation. While my opponent was setting up his backboard, I just took a quick photo of Hoard here. And then he sends his Berserkers into my remainder of what was my larger unit, and they fast vanished. He got the reroll to hits, and for every model he kills he gains an extra 3 attacks, and killed off 3 of his 4 models, so I did kill off the last one, and then wiped me out. Unfortunately this also put a fatigue on my levy down the bottom, which is now exhausted then. So I see I have to fall back and spend my Saga points to try and shift all my units back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I've actually lost Saga dice now because I've lost one of my units completely. So I decided not to move the levy. Unfortunately, they're going to be stuck there as a speed bump. They're exhausted and there's not much more I can do about it. But while they hold them up, at least it gives me a chance for the rest of my army to fall back into a more defendable position. Unfortunately, after reading through the rules as well, I can't pass on the golden hoard to another unit. I was really hoping I could get rid of it now, so unfortunately that 12-man unit is stuck with it until it is taken from me by losing a round of combat. The Hearthguard charge in, and there's nothing I can do here. I'm generating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3 attacks, rounding up. I got 2 attacks, but I didn't hope for much against the Danax Hearthguard. Just for those that don't know, levy, they generate 1 attack per 3 models rounding up, and the Hearthguard generate 2 attack dice each. So yep, they blitz straight through the levy there. So at the end of the turn, it's looking something like this. My opponent brings his warriors around the far side, trying to get down the flank, probably try and take out my weaker 4-man unit there, and probably try and cause some fatigue on the rest of my force. So I do the cowardly thing and fall back. What I'm going to try and aim to do is get my guys in that terrain piece just to slow my opponents down, and hopefully they won't be able to reach him. Obviously, because the opponent never had the Golden Hoard, I'm only going to get 2 victory points at the end of this instead of the 3 if we fought for it a bit. But at the moment, with all my losses going so far, I thought I'd better play to try and win this one and just hold a defensive position. Realising time's against him, my opponent throws in his Hearthguard, and it went pretty well for him. Yeah, that was no losses to him. And what's that? 6. I think that was a full 12-man unit beforehand. Can't find the image right now. So yeah, more than half that unit was wiped out, and no loss for himself. So the turn ends looking something like this. So with the fatigue on the Hearthguard unit, I thought I'd better go in, charge with the big 12-man unit and take out as much as I can, use their fatigue to lower their armor, hitting them on 3s then, and then just hopefully using my defensive abilities on my big unit so they'll survive, because obviously they're only saving wounds on 6s instead of 5s because they're carrying their Golden Hoard. And it turned out pretty good, and I killed 6 in the loss of 4 there. So my opponent, he threw in his warrior unit now, and they smash up my warrior unit for only a loss of 1. I think I lose 2, so I still lost, so I'm pushed off. But more importantly, because I brought that unit up, he's now taken the Golden Hoard, and I've got nothing. And then he also goes in to try and kill off my Warlord, but thankfully my base, he's in range of a couple of friendlies, and I think by now I knew my Warlord was going to be a target. I've probably had the Breton Warlord up, which allows me to gain +1 armor and reroll all my defense dice. So we're looking something like this for my turn. What I try and do is move that little 3-man unit up, rest him first, move him up, and I'll rest my general, move him. This allows me to charge with a unit of warriors without having to engage his warlord, because my warriors are actually blocking off a pathway from my warlord to his warlord. This is the advantage, I think, of having a foot warlord, because if I was a mounted one, unfortunately he would have had to charge that warlord, and I wouldn't have been able to get the dual charge at the end here. So I go in and yeah, do as much damage as I can. This is my last turn, so I had to put all my dice into this. I gave him as many attacks as I could. I didn't have very many dice as such, so I put them all in the combat pool, knowing how many I needed to move to get here, and then just rolled like a champ. Opponent unfortunately getting the sore end there. He didn't roll very well to hit me, and the result was I wiped him out, and the only loss of 1 warrior. And the Hoard I decided to give to my Warlord. He's the best armor in my unit and in my force, and yeah, it's last turn, so the fact he didn't generate any Saga won't matter in my opponent's turn. So we're looking something like this. Very little left on both sides. And here he charges in. He's got no choice now. He has to beat my Warlord. All he has to do is beat me in combat. It's 5 attacks against my... I went defensive, so I only have 2 attacks, but gave me 2 defense dice. And I think I also had... might have had Breton Warlord up, because it only cost me 1 dice. It's very effective for my Warlord, so I probably had that in play as well. And the end result was a draw. Neither of us did any damage to each other, so my opponent bounces, and with that I managed to keep the Golden Hoard. So that is finally a victory for my poor Anglo-Saxons. Thanks for watching, guys. So this is my first win, and I'm finally getting back into the swing of things here with the Anglo-Saxons. So that was it for my first day, and hopefully back tomorrow and a few more better games. Okay guys, cheers, farewellas.